Accorda, Bhavallum Foilter Correef Agopdina and Shop Enough. I would like to welcome you today to this, the 96th anniversary of the Mourneabby ambush. We are here this afternoon to remember the following IRA volunteers who died on the 15th of February 1921. Volunteer Patrick Flynn. Volunteer Patrick Dorgan. Volunteer Eamon Creedon. Volunteer Michael Looney. Volunteer Patrick Ronan, who was taken prisoner and executed by firing squad on the 28th of April 1921, and Thomas Mulcahy, also taken prisoner and executed in 1921. So now I'd like to call on the following people to lay some wreaths. I'd like to invite Mark Milan to lay a wreath on behalf of the Republican movement. And Cormac Finn O'Brien to lay a wreath on behalf of Mallow Sinn Féin. We will now have a minute's silence, followed by a lament by our piper for those who died at Mourneabby. I would like now to invite Grace Welch to read our proclamation of Scoilga.
Ara agus a bhná na hÉireann. In anam dé agus in anam na glún a cuaig rán agus óna bhórsí seanódas na náisiúntacha. Tá éire trína ag gáram a clán faoine bratacha agus ag bula ar sonna saoirse. Tá réistíí a fíor a agrú agus a olúnt ina heagraíocht rónda raibhlóideach bratacha sa phoblacht na hÉireann agus ina heagraíochtaí mílecha phoblaí. Oglaigh na hÉireann agus arm cathacha na hÉireann agus tar éistí a réalbhéis a thabhairt go faoineach chun fórfeiteach agus feitheamh go bun seasfacha leis a bhfuil chun gníomh. Tá sí ag gléic na fallaí sin anis agus le cara óna clown a ddíríocht America agus ó cóghuileach calma san Euro ach tar gach ní le muín nar dílis féin. Tá sé ag bula in nóchas omláin go mbearthaigh bua. Déirmid go ceart ceannasacha dóchlóta ceart mítar na hÉireann chun sealadh na hÉireann agus chun dála na hÉireann a stór gach cosc gan ceachtaí. Níor cura an ceart sin cé leis a bhógáilimh a rinne poblach eachtránaice agus a rialtas le cín daimsir ná ní féidir go brach a chur cail ach trí díthú muintir na hÉireann. Níl aon glún do daithnig nar dearthaigh pobl na hÉireann a ceart chun saoirse agus ceannas a náisiún. Sé thuaithe le 300 bliain anuas. Deirmhíodar faoin arm é ag seasamh dúing an gceart buna sin agus a deirbhú arís faoin arm ó scór an saol. Fóga míad leis an phoblach na hÉireann as start ceannas an nas flách agus chomhaimid ar nanam féin agus anam an gcórádathe cuireach in na lena saoirse agus an leas agus lena mór i meas na náisiún. Dílann poblach na hÉireann agus eilíonn sí leis seo. Gealas ón bhíntar ile na hÉireann idir fíor agus faná. Rathíonn ó phoblach ra saoirse cuideamh agus saoirse sibhialta. Cócearta agus códaisian do saorránach ile agus deirbhíonn sí gur é an run sin agus sonas lorg don náisiún ile agus de gach roundaí. Le cócóram de clown ile a náisiún agus le náirt an astónas a cuidí a déanstach a thrú agus rialtas eachtránach agus léir díleag mintlacht ón trámlach san am atá imethe. Go dtí go deirfidh féidir ar náram a túnú duine bún rialtas náisiún a bhúnú ó teachtaí den fofa ile éireann agus ar na dóthaigh le vótaí a chur fearr agus ban. Déirmid an rialtas sealadach a bhíontar leis seo. Cursaí sibhialta na mílta na poblacht a bhíor dar ceann an phobal. Cuirmí cuis poblach na hÉireann faoi comórchas dí a mór na nua comachta agus impíimiid a bheithnach ar nám. Iarmid gan aon duine a bheith ag fónamh sa cuis sin de tharraingt easú ile le míltas. Le bhíonacht ná le sláid san orbita seo is é dúchas náisiún na hÉireann a curthú lena míosnacht agus lena dat úmpar agus le hill a clowna á dóthaigh féin ar son na míltas poblí go dúlann sí réamh fósúil a dandú. Arna sinú thar ceann an rialtas sealadh. Tomás Ó Cléirigh, Seán MacDiarmida, Tomás MacDonagh, Padraig MacPiarish, Éamon Kent, Séamus Ó Conghaile, Joseph Ó Cloncéad.
Well done. Our guest speaker today is the Sinn Féin MEP for Ireland South constituency and represents the people of Munster and South Leinster in Europe. She's a Republican, a mother, an entrepreneur, a community activist and a filmmaker. She lives in Muskerry, Gaeltacht in County Cork with her husband and 3 children and is dedicated to representing all the people of Ireland South as part of a strong and driven Sinn Féin team in Europe. In the European Parliament, she sits on the Culture and Education Fisheries and Budgets Committee. She's been steadfast in her defence of Irish fishermen and in asserting the demand for Irish sovereignty over our waters and national resources. As a Gaeilgeoir, she's championed language rights at both a national and international level. She's campaigned for the Language Act in the North in the name of dignity and equality and has collaborated in the drafting of Sinn Féin's comprehensive and progressive Irish language and Gaeltacht policy. On the EU Budgets Committee, she acts as a watchdog for Irish interests and will play a crucial role in safeguarding Ireland, both north and south, from the financial fallout of Brexit. At home, she engages with women and community groups, with environmental campaigners, with farmers and food producers, and represents those left behind by the so-called recovery, much touted by Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil backers. Accorda, Curriva Fáilte Riv are our Sinn Féin MEP, Leah Muriarta.
God, I'd have a swelled head after hearing all that. I don't believe half of it. Anyway, tá anna áilte roimh ar fad an Sahanóg, tá sé fuór, tá sé dúirc ach mar sin héin, tá sé táchtach go mbeidh an Sahanóg chun Comóra ag an ar léachra. Accorda, it is a huge honour and a privilege to be asked to speak here today, not just at this sacred spot where so many sacrificed their lives for our freedom, but in Mourneabby in general. Mourneabby has a long and proud history of resistance to oppression. It was in Mourneabby where this area's first company of the Irish Volunteers was formed. When Redmond urged Irishmen in their hundreds of thousands to hurl themselves into the imperialist murder machine that was World War I, more than 90% of the volunteers heeded his call. Yet not one member of the Mourneabby company joined Redmond's conscripts. To a man, they all remained true to the Irish Volunteers. When Pearse proclaimed the Republic on the steps of the GPO in Dublin, the Mourneabby men were mobilised and ready to fight. On the first anniversary of the Rising, they raised the tricolour at the highest point they could find in the area, including from the top of Mourneabby Castle, which had been destroyed by Cromwell more than 200 years earlier. The RIC removed the flag, but volunteers replaced it the next day and barricaded the approach to the top of the castle. In the words of one volunteer, Jerome Buckley, OC of the local company, on the night of the Mourneabby ambush, there it remained until blown to shreds by the winds. Support for the volunteers was so strong in this area that by 1919 the Mourneabby company had gotten so big that the decision was taken to split it into two, with Bournefoot to the east and Analinta to the west. So it should be of no surprise that when the order came through to attack a convoy of senior British officers heading to a conference at their headquarters in Cork, that the Mourneabby men did not hesitate. Unfortunately, an informer had betrayed the companies, and despite the valiant efforts of a local woman, Siobhan Langford, to warn the volunteers, they found themselves surrounded. 4 volunteers were killed in the ensuing battle: Patrick Flynn, Patrick Dorgan, Eamon Creedon and Michael Looney. They all gave their lives at this spot. 8 more volunteers were captured, and once they had gotten them to their headquarters in Cork, the British executed 2 more of them, Patrick Renan and Thomas Mulcahy. The oldest of those killed was 30, and the youngest, Bishadír Ochbliandiag. In recent months I have had the privilege of speaking at both the Tom Barry and the Kilmichael commemorations. And while it is always worth remembering such people and such victories, we must remember that the backbone of any revolution is the ordinary volunteer. We must remember that while the IRA had some stunning victories, they also had some crushing defeats. And defeat is nothing to be ashamed of. Defeat merely means that you tried. The shame belongs to those who did not. Places like this are important because we must always remember that revolutions are not a straightforward march to victory. Hardship, setbacks and defeat are constant companions. And that is what makes the men we commemorate here so special. They knew that this was the most likely outcome of their involvement in the revolution. Just like Tom Barry, or Sean South, or Joe McCann, or Bobby Sands, they knew that death was a constant consequence of taking part in the revolution, but they joined it regardless. They recognised something bigger than themselves, and they risked all to play their part in it. We talk about heroes and martyrs as if they were superheroes. They were not. They were ordinary people, as ordinary as you and I. But they found themselves in an extraordinary situation, and rather than shrink from the challenge before them, they accepted the defence of the Irish people and the Irish Republic as their personal responsibility. They have left us with a legacy, they have left us with an example, and most importantly of all, they have left us with a responsibility. And each and every one of us here today is only here because we recognise that, and that the cause that we're fighting for is just and right. In doing so, We accept our responsibility to carry on that fight. But what would the men of Mourneabby make of the Ireland of today, when they witness people sleeping in doorways and alleys while entire housing estates lie empty? Would they have thought that their sacrifice was worthwhile? Would they recognise a republic that made Irish working families scrape through years of austerity in order to pay off a debt that was not theirs as the republic they fought for? When they found themselves at this spot, surrounded and hopelessly outnumbered, did they bravely face death so that Ireland could be, in Connolly's words, cut to pieces as a corpse upon the dissecting table and her sovereignty sold off? The men who died here were not fighting for Mourneabby. They were not fighting for Cork. They were fighting for a 32-county Irish republic. Every man here died in defence of Armagh and Belfast and Derry, just as much as Mourneabby and Mallow. They resorted to arms because the democratically expressed will of the Irish people in 1918 was ignored by the British government. And so it falls to us, we who are assembled here, to honour their sacrifice by carrying on their fight. 96 years after their stand against the anti-democratic practices of the British government, the will of the Irish people has once again been usurped. In June, the people of the northeast of this country voted decisively to remain with the rest of Ireland in the European Union. Regardless of what your views on the EU are, Ireland must make decisions regarding it as one unit. We must be all in or all out. Having one part of Ireland in and one part out is going to spell and is spelling disaster for the entire island. It will effectively repartition our country. Partition was a bad idea in 1921. To entrench it after almost a century of abject failure is utter madness. It's going to affect our trade, not just internationally, but within the island, and the imposition of a physical border will have effects that will spread far beyond the border counties. Partition has stunted the growth of this island's economy for almost a century. We must make it clear to the British, Irish and European governments that we, the Irish people, reject borders, hard or soft, British or European, in our country. Nobody but us will decide where our nation begins and ends. The reunification of Ireland is the only realistic, achievable and permanent solution to the problem. There are those who only pay lip service to reunification. They tell us that now is not the time. Well, I'm telling you that now is exactly the time. The current political landscape does not only present an opportunity for reunification, it demands it. They tell us we can't afford reunification, but every major study carried out in the past few years tells us the exact opposite, that we can't afford partition, that we can't afford the duplication, bureaucracy, inefficiencies and barriers caused by having two competing entities on our tiny island. They tell us it's not realistic. But how realistic was the prospect of an Irish Republic at a time when the British Empire was at the peak of its powers? How realistic was the prospect of a largely untrained underground guerrilla army taking on the strongest military force on the planet? The Good Friday Agreement provides a peaceful and democratic pathway to reunification, and unity is not in the gift of the British government. It now rests in the hands of the people of Ireland, north and south, to be expressed in concurrent referendums. We need to secure that vote for the people and to win the vote for unity. And only when we have done so will we have truly honoured the sacrifice made here at this spot and at countless other spots across the county, from Ballyseedy to the Bogside. So those who have yet to get involved in the discussion on reunification, I say that now is the time to make your voice heard. To those hard-working activists in other parties, I say now is the time to stand up to your leadership and play a meaningful role in the discussion that will shape a new Ireland. To our unionist brothers and sisters, I say your input is as essential as everyone else's. Take part in the conversation, even from an opposing point of view, and share with us your hopes, concerns and ideas, and we will share with you our vision of a fair, free and progressive country that cherishes all of the children of the nation equally. Recently, Sinn Féin has been accused of having a radical agenda. We wear the badge of radical with pride. This country needs radical change. The only people afraid of radical change are those with a vested interest in the status quo. The only people afraid of radical change are the unimaginative and the cowardly. The men of Mourneabby were not afraid of radical change. Indeed, they risked and lost their lives to achieve it. So let others call us radicals. We will stand proudly with the fallen radicals of Mourneabby, and we will send out a call to the radicals of Ireland. Join us in building the Ireland that they fought for. Join us in bringing about the radical change that this country needs. And join us in honouring the men of Mourneabby. Agus le chéile, a dáanta chéile, we will show those who think that radical an insult what the word really means. Agus le sinna cháirde, tuigh our law, agus tá our law a tacht. Go raibh míle maith agat.
Look, I'd like to again thank Leah, our guest speaker here today. She gave a fantastic speech as always. I'm very proud to stand beside her also as a woman in politics. She's always been a huge inspiration to me, a good comrade and also a good friend. I'd also like to thank our TD, Pat Buckley, who's here also from East Cork, and we have many former town councillors here as well today. We have Willie O'Regan, who is a former town councillor in Mallow, who again I have huge pride to take his place here in council from. We have Councillor Noel Harrington from Kinsale here also, another proud Republican who comes to I think every commemoration in the state at this stage. So you're very welcome here today to Mourneabby. Also to my comrades from Tipperary who are here, and we have comrades from Bandon, from Kinsale, and again we have Councillor Mick Nugent here who I don't think has ever failed to appear here in Cork to us, and of course former Councillor Johnny Griffin as well. So, and a big think you I think also to our colour party, to our fantastic speaker Grace Walsh, who I think it was a huge thing for her to come up here and to speak our proclamation of Scoilga. So a special bulabas for her. I'd also like to thank the family of Jack Cunningham who was part of the ambush here in Mourneabby, I'm delighted to see here today, and again they have never failed to come here. So our piper I need to also thank, and those who have laid wreaths, and of course all of you again for attending here today. So with that, I would like you to stand to attention for our national anthem, Gorv Míle Maith Agat, agus a Raiglin na Céile on public abu. Gorv Maith Agat. When you go thanking people, you always forget things, and I want to thank my own coming here in Mallow for organising this event, which it couldn't happen without them. So Gorv Míle Maith Agat again.